Hey guys, welcome to a brand new trailer review, and today I'm talking about The Mummy. Now this one is a reboot of the Mummy franchise. This is part of what's going to be the Universal Monster Universe. I think they sort of started with Dracula Untold. They may or may not be including that, but they're essentially rebooting a bunch of the monster movies from like the old classic like 30s movies. This one is a reboot of The Mummy, which we actually already sort of had in the late 90s with Brendan Fraser, which I actually like those ones a lot, especially the first one. The second and third one sort of downgraded from there. But this one is starring Tom Cruise, and it looks pretty interesting. It brings some new concepts as well as plays with some of the old stuff that we're sort of used to. So as usual, I'm not really going to talk or really show the trailer in its entirety. I'll leave a link in the description down below for you guys to check out. But there are some things that I found interesting in this trailer that I feel like I need to talk about. So essentially what happens in the trailer itself is that they find this tomb, which obviously encases the mummy. Then it sort of is they're transporting it on like this cargo plane, sort of like a military type of plane. And some weird stuff starts happening, and then like a hole blows out in the side of the airplane. Lady gets sucked, everybody's getting sucked out, and Tom Cruise attaches a parachute to the main woman and lets her fly off, and he basically hangs on for dear life, hoping that he will survive. Now, I found this kind of interesting because now instead of Tom Cruise hanging on the outside of an airplane like he did in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, now he's hanging on the inside of an airplane, but I guess it has a hole in it, so it's still sort of the same scene, but it's also different in a way. But I just thought that maybe that was just a weird parallel that I saw. But essentially he dies, or at least we think he dies. And that's what brings me to my next point that I found really interesting about this trailer, is that Tom Cruise wakes up, more or less, or is revived, I guess, in a body bag, and he's in a morgue. So did he die in the plane crash? Does he just have the ability to, like, of eternal life? Is there something that the mummy gave him or put like a curse on him or something where he's living constantly? I'm not entirely sure what to think, but of course it's just a trailer, so they're not going to give me all the answers right now. Obviously we'll have to see the movie to find out what actually happened. So I think that what they're going to do is it involves like a mummy's curse, or he could just be some badass, indestructible type of character. Another thing that I really liked about the trailer is that the overall scope and tone of the movie. This looks like a true adventure film, and as long as it has Tom Cruise doing his arm pumped running, I'm pretty much in. Oh good, it does! But back to the tone, I really like how it's sort of set in the modern day world, how they're sort of rebooting this whole universe in modern times, whereas in the 1999 version with Brendan Fraser, that was set in like the 1800s, early 1900s. So being able to set this in modern times should make it a lot more interesting. Maybe certain technologies they'll be able to use will bring about certain aspects to the story. There's also a featurette that Tom Cruise posted that you can also find a link to in the description down below that kind of gives you a little bit more sense of what may be happening, especially revolving around Russell Crowe's character. But it is a kind of an interesting featurette. I always find featurettes interesting because I like seeing behind the scenes stuff. So you kind of get a better idea of what may be happening in this film in addition to watching the trailer. But I do like the tone, how it's set. It looks like a full adventure movie with a lot of intriguing sets and an intriguing storyline that is actually probably worth going to the theater to see. Now there are a few tiny things that I have concerns about this movie. Number one being the overall scope of what this Universal Monster movie universe is really going to be. Like, I don't really know if this is going to lead into another film, and then another film, if there's going to have some other monster character sort of integrated into this story, if Tom Cruise is going to be sort of the Tony Stark of the Universal Monster movie universe, where he's going to be in different parts of different stories with maybe Frankenstein or Dracula or the Invisible Man or some other characters, Wolfman even, that are he's sort of gonna be the connecting piece, kind of like Tony Stark is in the MCU. I'm really not sure how that's gonna work, but I suppose that Universal has a plan in motion and that they're probably gonna work through that, but that's kind of just something we have to wait and see how it goes. My only other concern, and this is kind of a nitpicky thing, I don't really know how big of an impact there will be, but I love the Universal Studios ride The Mummy, which is based on the 1999 Mummy, and it kind of concerns me with the new Mummy if they're going to change that ride or if they're going to keep it the same. Fingers crossed that they'll keep it the same, because I like the overall theme, how it looks. Everything feels kind of a lot more fun in that ride. So if they're gonna update it, they really need to bring their A game. I have a feeling that they might update it, but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that we're gonna keep the original Mummy ride. But other than that, that's really all I have to complain about. I mean, there's a lot of potential in this universe as well as in this movie. Either way, I'm really excited to see it when it comes out next year. I really like how Tom Cruise is taking on his action roles. He's very dedicated to his craft of action. He's probably one of the last remaining real action stars. So being in this film is only going to add to how great this movie can be. But it's going to hinge a lot how this movie succeeds on how the Universal Monster movie universe is going to proceed from here on. But either way, I'm excited to see not only this film, but where it's going to take the rest of that universe and see how it develops and what storylines that these producers, that these directors, and these actors are going to be able to come up with in this shared universe that's a little bit different from superhero movies, but still just as interesting in my opinion. So guys, those are pretty much my thoughts on Universal's new trailer for the Mummy reboot starring Tom Cruise. Let me know what you think about the trailer or the featurette. Be sure to check the links down below, as well as comment down below what you think about this trailer, this franchise, this universe. Let me know everything you think about it down in the comment section down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You really are the best, and I'll see you in the next one.